What is going on, Mousetrap? It is Teslamouse here being my latest project for YouTube. This is the VPL, the Vahalla Pokemon League, which I was recruited to enter by the Swedish Poketuber Skyrander. This draft league is similar to the UCL in the way it operates with its drafting and whatnot, but the twist is there is a $50 prize to the winner. 12 coaches will battle out in the VPL, and only one of the coaches will be able to win the $50 prize. This is the Vahalla Pokemon League. The Vahalla Pokemon League, or the VPL for short, is a draft league that the Swedish Poketuber Skyrander founded. Skyrander invited me into the draft league about 2 weeks ago before I left for my vacation, and I accepted. The draft league basically follows the same structure as the UCL in regards to their draft. You get 3 picks from every tier. The tiers being OU, UU, RU, and NU through PU. There's this little unique action called the snipe action, which you can use at any time during the draft, as long as you're sniping the person who's going before you. What the snipe action is a way for you to guarantee yourself a Pokemon that you want that you were unable to draft because it was not your turn yet. So, for instance, if I go first and I want to draft Mega Charizard X, someone from either the 2nd seed of the draft for the 12th seed can take that Pokemon instantly that turn. The thing is, though, if that person takes your draft, they will not be able to draft for the rest of the round. That would be their pick for the round, and you would be immune from being sniped by anyone else for that round. The snipe action is a very creative way to basically put a little bit of mind games into drafting and whatnot. Skyrander tried to introduce a unique rule as a surprise. He was originally going to have it so that if anyone who was sniped would be able to disable one of their opponent's Pokemon from their rosters during the week that they were set to battle them. For instance, if I sniped someone for the Charizard X, the person who got snipe action by me would be able to disable any one of the Pokemon on my roster before we battle for the week that we do battle. In a 6-6 vote or a 7-5 vote, that rule was overthrown because the majority of the people did not like it. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really like the rule myself because of the snipe action I took advantage of in the draft. But if the disable rule stayed, I would have just dealt with it and it would be fine by me. But ultimately, I did oppose the rule from a strategic standpoint. But with this being in mind, guys, I'm going to show you guys my draft for the Vahalla Pokemon League, the VPL. While I was on my vacation, I did participate in the draft. It took it over a course of 3 days, and yeah. So, let's go over my first draft pick. As you guys can see, it is Metagross. But is it Mega Metagross or regular Metagross? It is actually Mega Metagross, because we start in the OU tier. Now, this pick was actually a pick that I used my snipe action on, to be honest with you. The first person who was up in the draft picked Mega Metagross, and I basically cashed in my snipe action on them immediately. The reason why I wanted Mega Metagross is because it's a very viable mon. It's a really powerful physical attacker, and it is actually, debatably, the best Mega in draft format. Insane Vampinese won Season 1 of the National Pokemon Association by running a Mega Metagross. I've always wanted to try Mega Metagross in draft format, but in Season 2 of the National Pokemon Association, Mega Metagross was banned, and all other draft leagues I attempted to enter had Mega Metagross banned too. But since the UCL and I guess the VPL go by smaller rules strictly, Mega Metagross was legal for the taking, and I cashed in my snipe action on it without hesitation. Mega Metagross has the ability Tough Claws. What Tough Claws does is it boosts any move that does physical contact. For instance, Meteor Mash, Iron Head, Zen Headbutt, Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, Brick Break, Hammer Arm, Shut Up Phone, Grass Knot. All moves that you make physical contact are boosted by Tough Claws. It is I believe, a 30% boost. Yeah, 33% boost for Tough Claws. Mega Metagross has some decent stats, some really good bulk, and really good speed. It has 80 base HP, 145 base attack, 150 base defense, 105 special attack, 110 special defense, 110 speed. As you can see, pretty much there are no stats on it that are terrible. The only stat that it lacks is a special attack stat, and Mega Metagross should not be really used as a special attacker unless you're preparing for something in draft format and want to run like Grass Knot or something like that. As mentioned, Metagross does get a bunch of awesome moves. It gets moves such as Magnet Rise, which will make it immune to ground type moves for about 5 turns. It gets Pursuit. It's an attack move that does double damage if the user switches out during the turn that Mega Metagross uses it. It gets Zen Headbutt, which is a psychic type move, 90% accuracy but 80 base power, where it does have a chance to flinch the target. It also has a chance to miss, unfortunately. It gets Priority Bullet Punch, which is a base 40 steel type priority move that's physical. It always moves first. It gets the move Agility or Rock Polish, which both is basically the same thing. It doubles the user's speed. It gets Meteor Mash, which has a chance to raise the user's attack. It gets Hammer, which is a fighting type move. Can definitely hit those Ceratorans and Heatrons while being boosted by Tough Claws. User swings and hits his strong and heavy fist. It does, however, lower the user's speed. Unfortunately, though, if you keep Metagross in its original form with Clear Body, Hammer Arm will still reduce the speed. Clear Body does not negate stat drops that result from your own moves and whatnot. Metagross also gets access to stuff like Home Claws, which will basically raise its attack and accuracy. It gets access to light screens. It gets access to Reflect. It gets access to Sandstorm if you want to run some weird sand team with Mega Metagross on it. I guess I don't know why you would. It gets access to Rock Slide. It gets Earthquake to hit those Heatrons if you don't want to risk the Hammer Arm miss. It gets Power Punch, which is a physical contact move, which will basically raise the stage of Mega Metagross by 1 stage every time Power Punch lands. From Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire moves, it gets access to Ice Punch, which is a physical ice type move, which again makes contact, thus is boosted by Tough Claws. It gets access to Iron Head, so if you don't want to risk to miss with Meteor Mash, you run Iron Head instead, has a chance to flinch the opponent, and is boosted by Tough Claws as well, only has 10 less base power than Meteor Mash. It gets access to Stealth Rock, so if you want to use Mega Metagross as a Stealth Rock user, that is perfectly fine as well. It gets access to Thunder Punch, the target has Punch of Electrified Fish. It may also leave the target with Paralysis, also boosted by Tough Claws. And of course, Zen Headbutt, because it is a stab physical contact move that is boosted by Tough Claws. It gets access to Dynamic Punch, which could be interesting if you want to, toy around with that in Tough Claws. Dynamic Punch is basically a 100 base attack move, where if the opponent is hit with it, they get confused instantly. I mean, if you want to run like Home Claws, which will raise the accuracy, they'll have a better chance of landing your Dynamic Punch. So Mega Metagross is a very solid Pokemon, based on all of its powerful stats, which there is not really one bad stat on it. I mean, Special Attack is the lowest of it, and that's base 105. Mega Metagross is definitely a threat in the draft format, and I actually have no regrets drafting this monster of a Mon. I used my snipe action on my opponent, or on one of the other coaches, right off the bat, and I definitely do not regret this choice. Metagross is a Steel Psychic type, weak to Fire, Ground, Dark, and Ghost. Next up is a Mon that I drafted back in the second season of the National Pokemon Association. It is a Mon that is very commonly used on many of my OU teams on stream. It is Rotom Wash. I drafted Rotom Wash for a variety of reasons, including the fact that I can actually cover Metagross's ground weakness, unless you're facing a Mold Breaker user, and Mega Metagross's fire weakness. Rotom Wash is a water electric type. It is one of the many forms of Rotom, including Rotom Heat, which is fire electric, Rotom Mo, which is grass electric, Rotom Frost, which is ice electric, Rotom Fan, which is flying electric, and the regular Rotom, which is ghost electric. I picked Rotom Wash, and that was my second OU pick of the draft. It gets Levitate, which basically makes it immune to any ground type move, except for Mold Breakers. Mold Breaker Pokemon will penetrate through Rotom Wash's ability and hit it for Earthquake. As I mentioned before in the NPA Season 2, Rotom Wash is a defensive Pokemon primarily. It gets access to stuff like Discharge, which is an electric type move that has a good chance of paralyzing the opponent, like a 30% chance. It has access to Thunder Wave, has access to Confuse Ray, has access to Electro Ball, which hurls electric orb at the target. The faster the user is, the greater the damage. I'm here to combo that with Thunder Wave and do more damage to the opponent, although I probably will not be using Electro Ball because it's not really that viable. Rotom gets access to Light Screens and Reflect, which is really useful. It gets access to Thunderbolt, obviously. It gets Toxic, it gets Will-O-Wisp, it gets lots of status moves. It gets Volt Switch, which after making the attack, the user rushes back and it switches places of party Pokemon in waiting. It's basically a special electric type version of U-Turn, which is a physical bug type move, which we'll get into a little bit later. It gets access to various interesting special attacks such as Dark Pulse and Shadow Ball. I don't know how often I'll be running those. It also gets Signal Beam, by the way. In terms of Omega Ruby Alpha 7 remove two attacks, it's Electro Web, which is an electric type move that cripples the opponent's speed by one stage. It gets Fell. The user turns the target's power against the higher the target's attack set, the greater the damage. Now, fortunately, Foul Play does not run off of the user's attack stat. So even though Rotom Wash is primarily a special attacker, Foul Play is a really interesting move on it and can be very useful. Pain Split is one of Rotom Wash's only two ways of recovery besides the passive Leftovers Recovery. What Pain Split does is basically the user adds HP to the target's HP, then equally shares the combined HP with the target. So if you have less HP than your opponent's Mon, you're going to get some HP back and your opponent is going to lose some HP as well. But do watch out when using Pain Split because sometimes your opponent can play some predict that and go into a Mon that has lower HP than your Rotom Wash, and thus you'd be giving them HP and taking HP off of yourself. It gets access to tricks, so if you want to run like some choice Rotom set, that's either Choice Specs or Choice Scarf, you trick your choice item onto like a Stolly Wall or something and walk them to move. It's pretty useful, I enjoy it. I enjoyed using Scarf Rotom back then, but now I'm more favoring the physically defensive variant. Special moves that Rotom can learn depend on the form that you're in. If you're the Ice Electric form, which is Rotom Freeze, you will be learning Blizzard. If you're the Rotom Wash form, which is the form that I drafted in this draft league, you can you'll learn Hydro Pump, which is a very inaccurate water type move, but it's really good base power and it's kind of necessary. If you're the Rotom Heat, you can have Overheat. If you're Rotom Mo, you have Leaf Storm, and if you're Rotom Fan, you get Air Slash. If you're regular Rotom, you don't get any special move. You can learn Shadow Ball as a stat move though. Basically, the stats of Rotom Wash are as follows. Rotom Wash gets 50 HP. Not the best HP stat for it. It's actually pretty poor. 65 base attack, which is poor, but then again, Rotom Wash is a special attacker and not a physical attacker. It's 107 defense, 105 special attack, 107 special defense. So those three stats are definitely great on it. And 86 base speed, which is alright. So I picked Rotom Wash as my second draft pick for a number of reasons. I wanted a nice wall. I wanted something that was immune to ground and that can cover Metagross's two weaknesses, them being fire and ground. Also, Mega Metagross does cover Rotom Wash's grass weakness. Rotom Wash is very, I don't know what the word, the word is slipping my mind, but it's very viable in a number of sets. From Choice Specs to Choice Scarf to physically defensive to specially defensive. Although I would not run specially defensive Rotom in anything but draft format because it's not going to be able to take hits from stuff that you want it to take hits from, and that would be physical attackers. So yeah, Rotom Wash was my second draft pick of the VPL. It was also my second OU draft pick, and my second draft pick was actually going to be Kyurem Black because I wanted to run like a Mega Metagross Kyurem Black core, but sadly someone picked it the same round that I picked Mega Metagross, so rip that dream. So Rotom Wash is my second draft pick, and my third draft pick of the VPL, and my third OU draft pick is Togekiss. I picked Togekiss as my Fairy type because I want to get a Fairy Dragon Steel core going on. Clefable would have been my pick for that draft, but it was already picked, I believe, in round 2. So I picked Togekiss, which is a Fairy Flying type. Togekiss covers Rotom Wash's grass weakness. It covers Mega Metagross's dark weakness, as well as Mega Metagross's ground weakness. Mega Metagross covers Togekiss' Ice and Rock weakness, and Rowash does the same pretty much. Togekiss has 3 abilities: Hustle, Serene Grace, and Super Lock. Hustle, you're not going to see me run on Togekiss unless I'm running some weird-ass physical set for some reason. I don't know if I would even consider that. Serene Grace is going to be the most common ability that you're going to see me run on it. Serene Grace basically makes so the chance of a moon happening with a secondary effect is doubled. So basically, Air Slash will have a better chance of flinching, Flamethrower will have a better chance of burning, H-Power will have a better chance of getting its boost off, and so on and so forth. Togekiss gets a number of interesting attacks, including R-Scare, which is a Flying type move. Basically, it can hit Heatrons. Air Slash is a Stab Flying type move. User attacks with a blade of air that slices even the sky, and may also target the flinch. Make the target flinch. 75 base power, 95 base accuracy, not too shabby. 30% chance of working, so basically, you have a 60% chance of flinching your opponent. Togekiss gets a bunch of coverage moves, I guess. Side Shot to cover those poison types it's weak to. Gets access to Reflect and Light Screens. Well, actually, just Light Screens. Yeah, Reflect too, actually. So if you want to run like a screen setting Togekiss, then you can. Gets access to Solar Beam. If you want to run like some weird ass Power Herb Solar Beam set, you can. I don't know why you would, but that's there. Gets access to Shadow Ball. Gets access to Flamethrower to hit those Steel types like Therathorn and Scizor on the Switch. Gets Fire Blast. Probably won't be running that as I don't like inaccurate moves. Gets access to Thunder Wave, which can paralyze the opponent's Pokemon. Gets access to Grass Knot, which is another grass type move that can cover. And it gets access to Stab, Dazzling Gleam. Unfortunately, Togekiss is one of the few fairy types that does not get access to Moonblast. But Dazzling Gleam is a base 80 power move, and with 100% accuracy, so that's fine. Fortunately, it has low power points, but yeah, what can you do about it? Other moves that Togekiss gets includes Extra Sensory, gets access to Future Sight, which is basically a Psychic type move that will damage the opponent's Pokemon in 2 turns, and does damage based off of its typing. Gets Mirror Move, basically counters the target by mimicking the target's last move. Gets Morning Sun, which is Recovery, along with Roost, which is also more Recovery. Gets access to Nasty Plot, which raises its special attack by 2 stages. And gets access to Stored Power, which basically turns all of its stat boosts into power for the move. The user attacks the target with Stored Power. The more the user's stats are raised, the greater the damage. You guys may have seen me use out my Sigilyph back against Munching Orange a few years ago. I don't think I'm going to be running a Stored Power set in this Togekiss, but we're going to have to see about that. Other moves that Togekiss get include Drain Punch, which is a physical fighting type move that basically gets you a bunch of HP back after you hit the foe. But Togekiss is not a physical attacker and is no way, shape, or form recommended to use physical attacks. Gets access to Heat Wave, which is more powerful than Flamethrower, but less accurate than Flamethrower move. At least it's more accurate than Fire Blast, so there you go. Gets access to Heal Bell, which basically makes Soothing Bell Chime to heal all status conditions on your party. So if you have like Pokemon that are asleep in your party or paralyzed, you just use Heal Bell and they're cured of those statuses instantly. Togekiss also gets access to Magic-O, which is basically a barrier that reflects back target moves like Stealth Rock, Taunt, Toxic, and Thunder Wave. It's very useful when you're predicting your opponent to like put out a status move against you. Gets access to Signal Beam, gets access to Tailwind, which is basically double the speed of your Pokemon for the next 4 turns, I believe it is. Yeah, 4 turns. Gets Tricks if you want to run a Choice Togekiss with Choice Scarf or Choice Specs. You can trick an item onto a wall that's giving you trouble, locked into one move, and basically be free to use any move you want. That's on your party. Gets access to Metronome, which is a move that will randomly use any move from that's in the game. So you can basically bring out a Sheer Cold move with Metronome, which will be very interesting. I don't know if I'm actually going to be running Metronome on my Togekiss at any point, but it is definitely something I can consider just for the fun of it. Gets access to Ancient Power, which is a Rock type move that has a chance to raise every stat by 1 stage, and with String Race, that makes it a 20% chance to happen. It gets access to stuff like Workout, which will raise its attack and special attack. It gets access to Defog, which clears away entry hazards. This is one of our first potential entry hazard removers of my draft. I did not get it for the purpose of entry hazard removal. I got it for the purpose of running out my Steel Dragon Fairy Core on this draft. So, Togekiss has base 85 HP, which is pretty good for it. Base 50 attack, which is bad. Base 95 defense, which is pretty good. Base 120 special attack, which is great. Base 115 special defense, which is awesome. And base 80 speed, which is pretty good. So the only bad stat on it is the attack stat, but again, as I mentioned before, it is not going to be used as a physical attacker. It is a special attacker, straight up. So Togekiss was my 3rd draft pick in the VPL and my 3rd OU draft pick. Now we move on to the UU picks. And my first pick in the UU here was Donphan. Now, I regret this decision, not because I don't like Donphan, but because I had Hydreigon in my mind as my Dragon type for the Fairy Dragon Steel Core. Unfortunately, Hydreigon was picked up during the 2nd round. I could have picked it up here, but sadly I did not. I picked Donphan instead. And the reason why I picked Donphan is for another Rock Setter and another Entry Hazard Remover. Donphan has 2 potential abilities, and Donphan is also Ground type. But Donphan has 2 potential abilities, Sturdy and Sandveil. Sturdy, it makes it so the Pokemon remain at 1 HP once hit with a move at full health that would knock it out otherwise. And it's also immune to 1-hit KO moves. Sandveil raises the Pokemon's evasion during a Sandstorm by 1 level. So Donphan is a Ground type, gets access to a bunch of moves, including 2 Elemental Fang moves, Fire Fang and Thunder Fang. It gets access to Rapid Spin, which will basically clear entry hazards off your side of the field. Unfortunately, those types do block your Rapid Spin use. Gets access to Knock Off, which basically slaps off the target's held item, preventing the target item from being used in the rest of the battle. Gets access to Earthquake, which is a powerful stab 100 base power move. In terms of TMs, you can learn stuff like Sandstorm. I guess we want to run like Sandveil, Donphan for some dumbass reason or whatnot. Gets access to Rock Polish, which will raise its speed by 2 stages. Gets access to Rock Slide, Poison Jab. Gets access to Endavior, so if you want to run an Endavior Donphan at priority Ice Shark, you can knock your opponent's Mon down to 1 HP, and then finish off with Ice Shard. It's a very gimmicky and tacky stat, which I don't see myself using that much, but yeah. Gets access to that aforementioned priority Ice Shard, which is an Ice type move, base 140 power, which basically goes first unless your opponent uses a Predator move and they're faster. Gets access to Play Rough, which is a Fairy type move with 90% accuracy, which could also lower the opponent's attack stat. Let's see what else it gets. Gets access to Stealth Rock, as mentioned before, it can be a Rock Setter. Gets access to stuff like Dung Shot, which is a more powerful Poison type move, but less accurate. Gets access to Seed Bomb, which is a Grass type move. It gets access to Superpower as well. Donphan has 90 base HP, which is really good for it. Base 120 attack, which is also great. 120 defense, which is great. 60 special attack, which is meh. And 60 special defense, which is also bad. And 50 base speed, which is bad. The attack, the HP, and the defense stat of Donphan is what makes it really shine. The special defense is kind of meh, but you can slap an Assault Vest on Donphan and allow it to take special attacks better. So I picked Donphan for the reason that it was an electric immunity. It provided another means of entry hazard removal. It's pretty powerful all around, good physically defensive wall in addition to Rotom, and it gets access to Stealth Rock. So Donphan was my first UU pick and my 4th draft pick overall on the VPL. Next up, my draft pick was Haxorus. That round I was planning to pick Hydreigon because I did not pick it during round 2 for some reason, but sadly Hydreigon was already picked, so I needed a Dragon type. And I was debating between Dragulge, Kyurem, and Haxorus. I was asking my girlfriend and my assistant coach, SarahBear6991, which she would prefer, and we debated for a few minutes, and she just said that she had the choice that she'd most likely pick Haxorus, and I said, you know what, I'll pick Haxorus. Haxorus has 3 abilities, Rivalry, Mold Breaker, and Unnerve. Rivalry, the attack and special attack is increased by 25% if the foe is the same gender. Attack and special attack is decreased by 25% if the foe is the opposite gender. This is very risky. It's hit or miss if this ability will be useful or not. So I'm definitely not going to be running Rivalry in draft format. Next up, Mold Breaker. The Pokemon's moves are not affected by the foe's abilities during battle. So, for instance, if my opponent has a levitating Pokemon like Rotom Heat, Earthquake will hit it, no doubt, because Mold Breaker will negate Levitate, and Rotom Heat will be demolished by Earthquake. And then Unnerve, the opponent Pokemon will never use a Hellberry while this Pokemon is in battle. Haxorus is a Dragon type Mon. It is a glass cannon, I guess you could say. but it is a pretty powerful sweeper. Gets access to a lot of great Dragon-type moves such as Outrage, which is a base 120 power, 100 accuracy Dragon-type move. Where the user rampages and attacks with 2 to 3 turns and then becomes confused. If you still have a Lumberry or Person Berry on it, the confusion will be worn off of Haxorus, and yeah, Outrage will not let it be confused on that turn. It gets access to Dual Shot, which is a base 40 power, 90 accuracy Dragon-type move. The user attacks the target by hitting a Brutal Strike, so the target is hit twice in a row. So basically, it's all around 80 base power. It's good to like break Sturdy and break Sashes, but overall, I don't see myself using Dual Chop that much, if at all. It gets access to Dragon Claw, which is Stab, 80 base power Dragon-type move, which is basically what Dual Chop is. The difference is, it does not hit twice, won't break Sturdy, won't break Sashes, but it can't miss. It gets Dragon Dance, which is a stab boost move, raises the attack and speed of Haxorus by 1 stage. It's access to Taunt. Target is taunted into a rage that allows it to only use attack moves for 3 turns. It's access to Sword Dance, so if you don't want to use Dragon Dance, you just want to quickly boost your attack by 2 stages. That is also an option. Gets access to a number of coverage moves such as Earthquake, Brick Break, Aerial Ace, I guess if you want to run that for some reason. I'm not sure why you would. Gets access to Shadow Claw, gets Rock Slide, X Scissor, Poison Jab, even gets Dragon Tail if you want, which is a offensive move like Roar. It forces the opponent out, but goes second. He gets access to Surf. I don't know why you run Surf on Haxorus, but that's just me. He gets Counter, which is a move that will deal double damage to the opponent when they use a physical attack on you. Well, to be fair though, Haxorus is probably not going to take many hits, so you probably won't want to use Counter on Haxorus. Gets access to Iron Head, which is a Steel type move. Good for good coverage, but bad accuracy. Gets access to Night Slash. In terms of Omega Ruby Alpha Type for move to attack, it's Aqua Tail, it's Dual Chop, it's Iron Tail, Low Kick, and Superpower. Haxorus has 76 base HP, 147 attack, 90 defense, 60 special attack, 70 special defense, and 97 speed. Its attack, defense, and speed are the best things about Haxorus. So, Haxorus was my Dragon type choice overall, and rounded out my Fairy Dragon Steel Core. Well, the Fairy Dragon Steel Core is basically Mega Metagross, Togekiss, and Haxorus. I would have liked to have picked Hydreigon because Hydreigon and Mega Metagross make a very mean core, but sadly, Hydreigon was picked during that same round, and since I was more towards the end of the I was like the second to last person to draft, I did not get to get it before Skyrander did, who happened to get to have the Hydreigon. So that's fine. Now, I know that Hydreigon and Mega Metagross were a very powerful core because of their typings and whatnot, as Hydreigon basically took Dark, ate up Dark and Ghost type attacks that Mega Metagross is weak to, and Mega Metagross ate up the Fairy and Ice type attacks that Hydreigon is weak to. However, there is one Mon in the Yu-Gi tier that could also fit the bill and form a mean core with Mega Metagross. This Mon is a tanky motherfucker, let me tell you that one. And the Mon that I chose that fit the bill was none other than Umbreon. Umbreon is a mono dark type. It is a very bulky Mon. It is mainly used as a Toxic Solid set, or a Clear Egg, or a Curse set, what have you. It has 2 abilities, Synchronize and Inner Focus. Synchronize basically makes it when Umbreon is inflicted with burn, poison, or paralysis. The opponent's Mon who inflicted this status is also inflicted with it. So yeah. Inner Focus also makes it so the opponent will not flinch. Well, this Pokemon will not flinch, but we're not going to be running Inner Focus Umbreon because that's just bad. I mean, I ran it back in my early days with XY because that was the only high IV Umbreon I had on me. So yeah, I was new back then running Inner Focus Umbreon, I'm not going to lie. Umbreon has a lot of good moves. It has access to stuff like Confuse Ray, it's Moonlight, which is Recovery, it's Mean Look, which makes sure the opponent cannot switch out, it's access to Toxic, it's access to Protect, gets Attract, gets Psych Out, which will cover the opponent's stat and boost, gets Substitute. Umbreon is not really used as an offensive Mon, more of an annoyance. And I picked Umbreon because I wanted to have a dark type to basically cover Mega Metagross's ghost and dark weaknesses, which Umbreon did fit the bill in. Umbreon does also get stuff like Sword Power. If you raise Umbreon's stats and you store power, just hit the opponent with a strong attack. Gets access to Wish, gets access to Yawn. I believe it. I don't know if it gets Roar. Does Umbreon get Roar? I don't think it does. So, fortunately, you won't be able to stop setup sweepers that way. But oh well. It gets access to Foul Play, which basically uses the opponent's attack stat against them. This will be discussed with Rotom Wash. Gets access to Heal Bell, which basically cures all party members of their statuses. And yeah. Gets access to Baton Pass. So Umbreon's slow, so it's no second. So if your opponent's gonna switch on the Umbreon, they're gonna set up the Pokemon, then Umbreon's gonna use Baton Pass and get switch initiative there. So that's really useful for it. Gets access to Work Hug, gets access to Sucker Punch, which is a priority Dark type move. Very interesting move that Umbreon can get. And yeah. Umbreon has 95 base HP, 65 base attack, 110 base defense, 60 base special attack, 130 base special defense, and 65 base speed. The attack, special attack, and speed stat of Umbreon is poor, but Umbreon is mainly used as a tank and a cleric, so the HP stat, the defense stat, and the special defense stat is what really makes Umbreon shine. Umbreon is my 3rd UU draft pick, and my 6th overall draft pick in the VPL, aka Vahalla Pokemon League, so yeah, Umbreon can be used as a physical or special wall or mixed wall. Now we go into the RU picks, and unfortunately for me, the Mons I want RU were pretty much picked already. I wanted Typhlosion, that was picked. I wanted Virizion, that was picked. Jolteon was picked as well. But I decided to go with a Mon that I've drafted in a previous draft league that I'm entering, the PMU, Pokemon Masters United. That draft pick is Electros, which is an electric type with one ability, and that's Levitate. Makes it so ground type Smith. Electros, as you guys know, is a Mon that I drafted in the PMU, the Pokemon Masters United. Electros, I don't really know what else to say that I didn't already say in the PMU draft analysis, but it's access to a good amount of coverage moves, including Dragon Claw, gets access to Flamethrower, gets access to Giga Drain, Rock Tomb, Rock Slide, Dragon Tail, Grass Knot, U-Turn for pivoting, Volt Switch for pivoting as well, gets access to Aqua Tail, Dragon Pulse, Drain Punch, Fire Punch, Knockoff, gets access to Signal Beam, Superpower. It's all around a pretty solid Mon. Very slow though, but then again, it is pretty tanky as well, so you can't have everything on your Mon. 85 base HP, 115 base attack, 80 base defense, 105 base special attack, and 80 base special defense. It could be a mixed attack, it can be a physical attacker, it can be a special attacker. The only bad stat on it is its speed, but once again, it's a tanky offensive threat, so obviously you can't really have a fast one of those, right? Unless you're here in black. So Electros was my first RU pick and my 7th draft pick overall in the VPL, the Vahalla Pokemon League. Next up, we got my 2nd RU draft pick, Emboar. I needed a fire type, and Typhlosion was already picked, unfortunately. I believe Delphox was as well. So I decided to go with Emboar. Emboar has 2 abilities, the first being Blades, and the HP is below 1/3 its maximum. The power of fire type moves is increased by 50%. Reckless, the power moves that have recoil damage is increased by 20%. So stuff like Head Smash, Flare Blitz, Wild Charge will be increased by 25%, and this thing hits like a motherfucking truck. There's almost no switch-ins for it. And gets access to stuff like Hammer Arm, gets access to Flame Charge, which will raise its speed, gets access to Heat Crash. The opponent slams its target with its flame-covered body. The more the user outweighs the target, the greater the damage. This is basically the the Heavy Slam version, the Fire-type version of Heavy Slam for Emboar. Gets access to Head Smash, I mentioned it's a Rock-type move, 80 base power, 80 base accuracy, but 150 base power, which does a lot of damage with Reckless, let me tell you that. Flare Blitz is also boosted by Reckless as a 120 base power move with 100% accuracy, has a chance to burn the target. Gets access to stuff like Bulk Up, which will raise its attack and defense. Gets access to Earthquake, Superpower, I believe it gets access to Rock Slide as well. Gets access to Poison Jab to cover those fairy type threats. Gets access to Wild Charge, which will cover its water weakness a bit. Gets Sucker Punch, which is a priority Dark type move, as we mentioned with Umbreon. It gets access to Fire Punch if you don't want that recoil Flare Blitz, you can run Fire Punch instead. Gets Iron Head, again more coverage of fairy types, even though fairy type is really neutral against Emboar. gets access to Superpower and Thunder Punch and Zen Headbutt. The stats are 110 base HP on Emboar, 123 attack, 65 defense, 100 base special attack, 65 special defense, and 65 base speed. The defense, special defense, and speed stat are pretty meh on it, but Emboar is usually ran as a Scarfer in RU, sometimes a Life Orb attacker as well, so yeah. There's almost nothing that's going to want to switch into Emboar unless they're on top in a prediction game. Emboar, with its 100 base special attack, can also be a special attacker if you so wish. It gets access to stuff like Grass Knot, so you can actually hit Swampers, Planexators, Gastrodons, and Witch Catchers with super effective damage, and do a hefty amount of damage, if not knock them out. So, yeah. Emboar is a really powerful threat. I'm glad I drafted it. I would have preferred Typhlosion personally, which is a draft pick that I had in the second season of the National Pokemon Association, but Emboar is just as well very fine. And yeah, that is my second RU draft pick and my 8th draft pick overall in the VPL, the Vahalla Pokemon League. Next up, for my third RU draft pick, I picked another Steel type, Excavalier. I don't know really why I picked Excavalier, with the exception of that if I didn't want to bring Mega Metagross, I could have another Steel type to complement my Fairy and Dragon type. That's also my roster. Excavalier gets 3 abilities: Swarm, Shell Armor, and Overcoat. All 3 abilities are pretty good on it. Swarm is when the HP is below 1/3 its maximum, the power of Bug type moves is increased by 50%. It's basically the Bug type version of the ability that the starters typically get. Shell Armor, opponent's moves cannot critical hit. It's like the anti-RNG ability here. And it gets Overcoat. Protects the Pokemon from weather effects and power moves such as Sleep Power, Poison Power, etc. So if your opponent has like something with Spore, such as a Moongus or Breloom, you can use Overcoat and it will not be put to sleep. Excavalier gets a bunch of interesting attacks, such as Iron Head, which is Stab, Exeter, which is Stab. It's access to Swords Dance, raises attack by 2 stages. It's access to Aerial Ace. It's access to Poison Jab, more coverage. It's access to Drill Run, which is a ground type move, which will cover its fire weakness. It's access to Bug Bite, Knockoff, Mega Horn, Pursuit. It's access to Iron Defense, I guess, we want to raise its defense stat. It has 70 base HP, 135 base attack, 105 base defense, 60 base speed, special attack, 105 special defense, and 20 base speed. Its HP is okay, its attack, defense, and special defense is really good for it. You can run it as a Choice Banded user, you can run it as an Assault Vest user, a Life Orb user, what have you. The possibilities are endless with Excavalier. Its speed is really bad though, but then again, it's pretty tanky with its defense and special defense stats, so its speed shouldn't be too much of an issue. Just watch out, don't leave it in on fire type attacks, because you will regret that, being that its Time Source super effective to fire. Alright, now we're at the RU picks, and we're going right to the NU through PU picks. These will be my final 3 draft picks of the draft league, and we're going to start off with another Fairy type, and that being Clefairy. My girlfriend, SarahBear6991, aka Sarah, uses Clefairy in the draft league, the PMU Draft League Pokemon Masters Unite, which I'm also part of, and I could not get Clefable, and because I don't want to run Togekiss for some reason, I want another Fairy type as a backup here, and I picked Clefairy. Clefairy gets access to 3 abilities. Unfortunately, one of the abilities I want to run Clefable for, Clefairy does not get. It gets access to Q-Charm. The opponent has a 30% chance of being infatuated with Clefairy if it makes physical contact. Magic Guard prevents all damage except from direct attack moves, and Friend Guard. In double and triple battles, the damage that allied Pokemon receive from attacks is reduced by 25%. Magic Guard is the only ability that I'm really going to be using on Clefairy. Clefairy is really bulky with the Eviolite, and it gets access to Healing Wedge, which basically makes it so it sacrifices itself to heal one of the allies that are induce a status, low on HP, etc. It's access to Encore, so if you're having Clefairy face up, it's like a setup mod. Just use Encore, they're locked into that move that they last used. It gets access to Stored Power, Cosmic Power, and Calm Mind, which are all stat raising moves, and Stored Power basically uses your stat boost against the opponent. And it gets access to Moonlight, which is another healing move. It gets access to Moonblast, which is a stab 95 base power move, 100% accuracy, with the chance to lower the opponent's target's special attack stat. It gets access to coverage moves such as Side Shock, it's access to Thunderbolt, it's access to Shadow Ball, it's access to Ice Beam, it's access to Flamethrower, it's access to Thunder Wave to paralyze the opponent's Pokemon, gets Grass Knot, gets Dazzling Gleam as another stab fairy type move, but you run Moonblast instead. Gets Aromatherapy and Heal Bell, both of which do the same thing. Basically, it cures all allies of their statuses. It gets access to Metronome, so if we want to be fun and use Metronome Clefairy, we can do that as well. It gets access to Wish, which can provide cleric support for the team. It gets access to Stealth Rock, so if you want to set up rocks around your opponent's field, you can. It gets access to Knockoff, so if you just want to run like a cheap way to get rid of your opponent's items, you can do that as well. It's Magicoat, which basically bounces back any of the opponent's moves that target the user during that turn that they use Magicoat, and basically it bounces back Stealth Rock, Spikes, Toxic Spikes, Taunt, Toxic, Thunderwave, Will-O-Wisp, etc. That kind of thing. It's access to Trick, so if I want to run like a Choice Clefairy, that probably will not be happening because I want Clefairy to take hits in this draft league, so I probably will be only running like Eviolite on it. I say that now that I run some freaking Heat Clefairy set. But yeah, gets access to Magical Leaf, gets access to Soft Boil, which is only able to be used with Magic Guard or Two-Turn Clefairy. Unfortunately, Unaware of the table does not get access to Soft Boiled. The base HP is 70, 45 base attack, 48 defense, 60 special attack, 65 special defense, 35 base speed. All those stats seem pretty meh on paper. Before this work, Clefairy is a big threat in PU, or NU, I'm not really sure which tier it is. It might be NU, I'm not really sure. But the Eviolite, Clefairy gets a bit bulkier, so there wasn't really anything better that I could have picked in the NU for PU tier, but I did want to pick Raichu. I was not thinking about it at the time, but later on Raichu was picked, and I stabbed face. So that was another pick that got away from me. But yeah, Clefairy was my first NU/PU pick in my 10th overall draft pick. Sorry, it said draft pick 9 for 12, or I meant 10 for 12. But yeah, Clefairy is a second fairy type for me to have in my roster, and I'm very excited to be using it. I know Sarah loves using Clefairy in the PMU, so we're gonna see how it does for me here. It does seem out of place in my draft, but hey, what can I say? My next draft pick, since there wasn't anything really better, was Xatu. Now, I was originally going to pick Meowstick in this draft league, but unfortunately, I want clarification if I could use either form of Meowstick when drafting it. The answer was no. You have to declare if you're drafting Meowstick female or Meowstick male. So unfortunately, my whole mind games thing with whole Meowstick sets was not going over because you can only pick one of the two genders for your draft pick. So instead, I went with a Psychic type, such as Xatu. Xatu is an okay mod. It's a flying Psychic type. It's another immunity ground. It gets 3 abilities: Synchronize, Early Bird, and Magic Bounce. All 3 abilities are pretty good in their own right. Synchronize, as I mentioned, Umbreon basically makes itself its inflicted with stats such as Burn, Paralyze, or Toxic, or Poison, and bounces back to the opponent. Early Bird makes it so Xatu wakes up quicker. Magic Bounce is a hidden ability for it, which bounces back any status moves that are targeted to you, such as Stealth Rocks, Toxic, Thunder Wave, Taunt, etc. Magic Bounce is the ability version of the move Magic Coat. So yeah, Xatu is a pretty good mod. It has some good moves to it. It gets Confuse Ray, it gets access to Future Psych, gets Psychic, gets Tailwind, gets Psyshock, gets Shadow Ball, gets Calm Mind, so if you want to run a setup with Xatu, you can. Gets Toxic, gets Hidden Powers, obviously. Gets Screens, gets Thunder Wave, gets Grass Knot, gets U-Turn to pivot out, whatnot. Gets Dazzling Gleam to cover your dark weakness. It gets access to Feather Dance, which will reduce the opponent's attack stat by, I believe, 2 or 3 stages. I think it's 2 stages. I don't know what harsh is. I forget if it's harshly or sharply that reduces the opponent's attack stat by 3 stages. You guys can let me know in the comments. Maybe it's neither, but yeah. It gets access to Haze, which will eliminate all stat changes in the opponent's Pokemon. Gets access to skill swap, so if the opponent has a more desirable ability, and you skill swap to get one of my abilities, like Synchronize, Early Bird, Magic Bounce. Really want to be careful of that, because I don't want to really give my opponent Magic Bounce. I'm planning to use status moves and whatnot. Gets Priority Sucker Punch, which is interesting. Gets Zen Headbutt. We're not really going to be using it as a physical attacker. He gets access to Giga Drain, Heat Wave, gets Pain Split, Signal Beam, gets Tailwind, as I mentioned before. Trick, we want to use a Choice Stone. Uzatu can do that. Gets access to Defog. Unfortunately, Defog and Magic Bounce are not compatible because hidden abilities are introduced in Gen 5, and Defog is a Gen 4 transfer move, so rip that thing. It has 65 base HP, which is meh. 75 base attack, which is meh. 70 base defense, which is eh. 95 base special attack, which is pretty good. 70 special defense, which is alright, but meh. And 95 base speed, which is pretty good. So, I'm very excited to try Zatu out. I don't know how often I'll be using it in the draft league, but we'll figure it out when we get there. Zatu is basically a last minute pick because the whole Meowstic idea did not pan out. And our 12th and final draft pick overall on the VPL, the Vahalla Pokemon League, is none other than Simisage. My girlfriend and assistant coach, SarahBear6991, was basically trying to convince me to pick Simisage. She wanted to pick in the PMU, but she didn't. But she convinced me to pick Simisage. I wanted Grass type for my Fire Water Grass tour. Unfortunately, Verazion was picked in the RU tier, so I couldn't really do that. Cradily would have been nice, but already had enough fighting type weaknesses on this team with Umbreon and. Actually, I only had one fighting type weakness overall. I could have picked Cradily, but I already had enough ice type weaknesses, with Togekiss, Donphan, and Zatu and Haxorus, so Cradily was not an option there. So I picked Simisage, which is a grass type, pure grass type, 2 abilities, Gluttony. This Pokemon will use the berry once hit points are below 50%. Overgrow, when HP is below 1/3 its maximum, the power of grass type moves is increased by 50%. Simisage can be a physical or special attacker. It's access to both types of offensive move raising abilities, such as Nasty Plot for special attacks and Swords Dance for physical attacks. Gets access to Seed Bomb as a powerful physical attack. Gets access to Home Claw, so it raises attack and accuracy. Gets access to Brick Break, Rock Tomb. Gets Energy Ball for special attacking, Focus Blast. Gets access to Shadow Claw. Gets access to Power Punch. Gets Bullet Seed. Gets Grass Whistle. I don't know why I'd run Grass Whistle on Simisage, but that's besides the point. Gets Leaf Storm, which is a base 130 power special attack grass type move that has 90% accuracy. It's basically the grass type version of Draco Meteor and Overheat. He gets access to Nasty Plot, raises its special attack by 2 stages. He gets stuff like Giga Drain, gets Gunk Shot, gets Iron Tail, Knockoff, gets Seed Bomb, Superpower, Synthesis. It gets all sorts of pretty powerful moves. The only thing is, though, is that Grass is like the worst defensive typing. One of them has like so many weaknesses. Weak to Fire, Ice, Bug, Poison, and Flying. It resists water and grass and electric and ground. So it has some good resistances, but overall, it is weak to a lot of types. Quite a few common types, actually. It has 75 base HP, 98 base attack, 63 base defense, 98 special attack, 63 defense, and 101 base speed. Its attack, special attack, and speed stat are the best stats it has going for it. Its move pool is pretty good, although unfortunately it has it's only fight type move it can get besides 10 power fighting. For the special side is a very inaccurate move, so it's something you have to watch out for. I mean, if you want to run like a mixed Simisage, you can run like Home Claws to boost the accuracy of Focus Blast while also boosting the attack stat for moves like Seed Bomb and whatnot. Does Simisage get Earthquake? I'm not sure if it does. I don't believe it does. No, it does not get Earthquake. But Sarah convinced me to pick Simisage as my final draft pick, and I'm like, you know what? Why not? There's nothing else I really want. I mean, I could have picked Ludicolo or I could have picked Go-Go. I mean, actually, Go-Go was already drafted that. No, I think I drafted Simisage before Go-Go was picked, but Go-Go was was also an option here, but I picked Simi Sage overall because I need another special attacker, and Simi Sage fit the bill. But I can use that as physical, a special, or a mixed attacker. Yeah. So basically, let's go over the draft one more time. For OU picks, we drafted Mega Metagross, Rotom Wash, and Togekiss. For UU, we picked Donphan, Haxorus, and Umbreon. For RU, we picked Electros, Emboar, and Escavalier. And for NU/PU, we picked Clefairy, Xatu, and Simisage. So that is my draft for the Vahalla Pokemon League, the VPL. The first place prize is $50, and I'm going to really go for it. The thing is, though, there is no playoffs. Basically, you have to get a really solid differential to have a chance at winning the first place prize. But we're going to do our best here. I mean, I've never been really worried about differentials in our draft league, but it looks like I'm going to have to start here. But yeah, we're going to see what the season has to bring. So, if you guys enjoyed this video and want to see more draft league action, I am also in the PMU, the Pokemon Masters United. I will also be in the 3rd season of the National Pokemon Association, which will be happening around December, January, later on this year. But if you guys are enjoying all this draft league action and want to see more fantastic draft league content, such as draft analysis, live commentated battles, and whatnot, definitely consider subscribing to this channel. It'd be super appreciated. Also, leave a like and comment if you want to tell me what your favorite draft pick of my roster is. And I will catch you on the flip side. And remember, stay salty, Rage Quitters. Stay salty. Woo woo!